Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests, and today we go to Dave Williams. We only met a few weeks ago, probably in the ICF coaching, welcoming party. And then we found out that we both have a passion of sports. Dave is a seasoned health and well-being professional, high-performing coach, senior administrator, understands unique challenges faced by athletes and specializes in helping them perform at their highest level. Give us an intro of yourself. What sports haven't you done? Maybe this is the question we need to ask rather than...
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the list of haven't tried, there's a lot of sports. I've certainly tried a lot. I love staying active. I love a healthy lifestyle. Look, as we get older, that's very important. And the key is don't ever stop. Because once we stop and we become a little sedentary, then the injuries come in and it's harder to get started again. So I do move around from sport to sport if I'm injured. But for the most part, I have focused these last few years on swimming has been my number one sport. But I hike, I run, I bike, I paddle, I do other kinds of things as well.
Yeah.
And I lift weights to keep myself in the right kind of health.
Give us your body fat.
Look, at this age, which will be, I'm closing in on 6 decades, is I'm about 7% body fat and roughly the same weight over the last 30 years.
Wow, congratulations. And what is the key to success with eating, healthy habits, healthy minds? Tell us what is your key to success?
I live by the 80-20 rule. 80% of what I take in is very healthy for me. I don't count the calories. I just make sure I have good portion size. I eat things that are good for me. I stay hydrated. I stay active, and sleep and stress-free environment is absolutely important. And so if I'm doing all those things in the right kind of combinations, then hopefully that'll be my blue zone to 100.
You will, I'm sure. How did you get into the swimming? And not only swimming, but marathon swimming?
I started off as a triathlete and runner and swimmer through my younger days. Of course, family and responsibility starts to come in. And I felt my competitiveness for the kinds of medals and things that I was chasing. I got to the point in my mid-20s, early 30s that started to diminish a little bit. And I just stayed active past that point. But then I had a mountain biking accident on Thanksgiving Day 2014. And that changed everything for me. As I sat in a hospital on Thanksgiving in this small little town dealing with a shoulder injury, I really thought, okay, the recovery is going to be pretty tough at this age. I made a goal for myself at that point that January 1st, I was going to start and I was just going to get in the pool. I was going to kick, right? Just kick because I wouldn't be able to use my arm. And I was going to do that for 6 weeks. I was just going to go a little bit further each week for 6 weeks. That was 486 weeks ago. And I haven't stopped since. In fact, tomorrow will be my 2000th swim since then, which doesn't sound like a lot. But when you think that 2,000 swims represents 7.5 million yards of swimming, that's a goal that I've been chasing and I'm pretty happy with. And I've been able to build other goals around that. It's got very complex. I've got this matrix of goals. I don't spend a lot of time on it, though. The value of the goal setting has kept me focused. It's kept me in tune with it. When the pandemic hit and all the swimming pools closed, I went to the ocean. That's really when I started saying, you know what? I was standing on the beach one day in New Jersey, looking across at New York and said, you know what? I'm going to swim there. And I did. Then, of course, I got there and said, well, now I have to swim back. And I did. Then it became this, well, where else can I swim? And I started swimming in different countries, and I started swimming just different distances, and I started just creating new goals around, which has been great because I've been able to explore. I've been able to chase things. I've been able to get really passionate about it. That's kept me pretty grounded. And I've been able to transition the resilience I've built around that to every other aspect of my life. I've become this big believer in the value of goals, especially the goals around our own health and well-being, because they will translate to other parts of our lives.
If you have a healthy mind, you can do many more things. And we know I'm a marathon runner. So I always feel like if people say, I give up. I get to the next gear. We know that 18 miles, you might hit the wall, but you keep going. You don't give up. And I always say there is no finish line in life. How did you get to, let's say, from 1 mile, 2 miles to 12 miles? If the listeners want to find out how to become a marathon runner, what is your recommendation?
Well, you start with one step at a time. You start with one little step. Keep in mind, my goal almost 10 years ago was just be able to do 40 lengths of the pool in a week. And my average since then is about 200 a day. That's where it starts, though. It starts that one step, and you have to enjoy. This has probably been a transition for me. I used to do this stuff as a competitive athlete where I was chasing an end result. I wanted the medal. I wanted the accolade. I wanted the win. That's the end point. Now I enjoy the journey. The journey is where I have the best amount of fun with it. And that's where I set my goals. It's enjoying the journey along the way. And I get to meet a lot of people. I get to explore the world around me from a completely different perspective. And I get to be very reflective. Because let's face it, when you're swimming, your face is in the water, you don't have a whole lot of, you can't talk to anybody. You're stuck inside your own head. And I can solve a lot of my own problems, come out of the water with this refreshed outlook on what I need to do. And I'm able to do that.
I couldn't agree more with you. We are both coaches and obviously we're talking a lot. So that's why swimming is so good for me. I don't have to talk to anybody. I can go at my own pace and I get out and I'm like, poof, I'm ready for the world.
There was a time when marathon running was my number one sport. As I get older, I have to be very careful about the kind of miles that I put in. And I don't have to do that when in the swimming. It's very easy on the joints. I don't have the impact trauma of running. If I think about the future, I can make goals that are, as I did back in 2014, I was making goals 10 years into the future. I have a very specific goal that I'm targeting, right, in 2 more years. And I keep myself on track to do that. I look back saying, what do I need to change to make sure I can still get that done? And so far, I'm directly on track to accomplish that specific goal.
And what is that goal? Do you want to share with us?
So I will be 60. And my goal is to simply to go, I want to swim. Here I go, all this long stuff, right? And my 60 goal is to be able to swim 100 yards under 60 seconds when I'm 60. Right. And so I'm about 52 seconds right now for 4 lengths of the pool. But we lose about half a second per year as we get older. Right now, I'm on track to be able to do that.
I think that's fantastic. And I agree with you. If you don't have goals, I always say, like, I'm a lazy person. And people's like, no, not you. If I don't have a goal, if I don't have a deadline, I'm like, tomorrow. You find excuses. And we have a million excuses. And I always say, if you have time for 30 minutes on your smartphone to check the social media, why don't you work out 30 minutes? So if you set a goal, you reach the goal. And the thing is also, if you set a goal that is too difficult, you will not reach it. You get frustrated. If you set a goal that is a little more out of your comfort zone, you can reach it. But if it's too easy, you're not really motivated. Do you have realistic goals? We use a SMART goal, right? Is it measurable, achievable, realistic?
I absolutely 100% agree with you on that. For me, when it comes to the goals, we've got to write them down. We've got to write them down. We've got to review them. We've got to make sure we can even modify them. And what I do with my goals is, keep in mind, it started for me in 2014 with 6 weeks. That 6 weeks then turned into a 10-year goal. Now, if I just simply left that 10-year goal out there and didn't do anything else, I would have thought there's no way it's not achievable. It's too far into the distance. I created the rest with the end in mind. This is what I want in 10 years. And then I basically just backtrack. Here's what I want to accomplish along the way. I came up with a lot of benchmarks. I achieve 95, 99% of those benchmarks. And that's good because we need a little bit of failure to know what we need to change to make the challenge worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that I'm not 100% on everything is a good thing. And I don't have to spend that much time with it. I don't miss a week. I have not missed a week for any reason. Worldwide pandemic, flu, broken bone, whatever. I haven't missed.
Yeah. So how much do you swim then per week?
I average 2 miles per swim 5 days a week, and I have not missed in 9.5 years. There are some days if I'm looking ahead at the schedule, and I go, "Ooh, I've got some travel this week." All right, well, I just take a quick look. Can I do this along the way? Can I do this at the destination? Or do I have to get it in before I go? Right? It doesn't take a lot, and it doesn't stress me out to do that. In fact, I find that challenge kind of fun. I was telling you when I went to Switzerland, I probably wouldn't have thought swimming when I was in Switzerland. In the wintertime, in a lake at the base of the Alps, it's going to be cold. I had so much fun. And so many people stopped me along the way when I got out and was going back to the hotel. That was amazing. That was inspiring because it's cold. Right? And I was invigorated by it. All right. And I got to go, ooh, there's another country I just did an open water swim in.
Just listening to you feels like, let's go, let's go, let's go. What I like as a runner or even as a swimmer, so you don't have to pack so much gear.
Right.
For the runners, you just a pair of running shoes and the rest. I don't need to look so glamorous, but as long as I have my running shoes, I can explore a new country, a new city. And it's a different way of exploring. The swimming, the same. You make friends, you inspire others. This is really cool.
Yeah. And the beauty is I don't have to go to a foreign country, kind of sight unseen. I can reach out through social media and say, hey, I'm looking to swim here. Anybody know a good place I can go swim that it's legal, right? Yeah. B, the water is going to be safe. And that people have some idea about marine life or temperature and those kinds of things. I've never not found somebody that's given me the information on it. Oftentimes I'll meet them.
That's fantastic. The sports people are always willing to exchange ideas. It's that support that you have immediately. So why do you and I meet? Because we have that sports in common. With other coaches, I did not meet. It's that we bond because we have something in common. We know how hard it is. We know how rewarding it is. So that's why we bond immediately.
And listen, and let's not lose the fact, great business decisions are made in recreational pursuits. If we think about the golf course, if we think about the tennis court or wherever, or a 5K run. That's several years ago, I had a chancellor of an organization I was working with who happened to say in a speech that I went to that, I would love the opportunity to meet the governor. Well, it just so happens I knew the governor ran. So I organized that meeting to take place by simply inviting the governor to come do a run for us and made that connection. There's a lot of opportunities there, to your point, that the sports world brings people together.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I have one last question, and I'm sure that all the listeners want to know, what do you eat? And what do you eat on any given day? But then when you train for a big event like the marathon swim, how does the nutrition look like for you?
Well, the short answer is I can eat whatever I want. Now, the long answer is, but I don't, right? I eat 80% of what goes into my body is very healthy for me. I eat lots of vegetables. I eat lots of fish and protein, and I eat pasta and I eat breads, and I don't snack a lot. I do make my meals smaller, more meals during the day, plenty of fluids. When I'm in training for a long period of time or I'm doing a long distance event, I've got to think ahead about how long I think I'll be in the water. That could be a challenge because I will try to eat about every 45 minutes and I have to be able to eat while I'm swimming, and I'll take fluids in. And I will tow that kind of stuff behind me. I will pull it up next to me, take whatever it is, if it's a goop pack or if it's something else that I can simply put in and let it dissolve or slowly sink down while I'm swimming, then that's what I'll do. And I will get several thousand calories in while I'm working out. And still, I'll be out of the water and I would have lost 4 or 5 pounds.
And what is your favorite food? Let's say when you do a marathon swim, do you have any reward, or is it like you need real food or just those good gel packages?
Well, the reward afterwards is literally anything I want. If I'm going to have a steak, I will do that. Beforehand, I'll make like a barley salad, which has lots of vegetables in it and some nuts in it and that sort of thing. I'll munch on that a lot before I get in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then that last 30, 45 minutes before I get in, I won't really consume anything, but I'll make sure I get plenty of fluids with some electrolytes. And then once I get in the water, I will make sure, even though I'm not hungry or thirsty, I'm usually not hungry or thirsty for the first 2 hours, but I will force myself to still consume on the interval that I want to be able to make sure that I'm staying on top of things. That way I can finish strong.
Because I say if you're thirsty, it's too late. So that's exactly what it is. Like every 45 minutes, whatever works best for you, you need to intake whatever you planned ahead.
When you're running or biking or some other event and you bulk, you get to that point where you just have had enough, or you can walk home. I may be 2 miles away from shore, but it's not an option. I have got to make sure that I have planned appropriately so that I don't run out of energy when I still have a long way to go.
And that leads me to one more question. What about safety? I mean, you just said, if I'm 2 miles away from the shore, you cannot just say, I'm stopping here. What's happening?
That is part of my own personal challenge around that. I'm a very accomplished swimmer and that sort of thing. Regardless, I've got to make sure people know where I'm going when I'm getting in the water. When I'm doing something super long, I will reach out and find somebody to go with me. There's 2 or 3 people around that are strong enough that we can be compatible swimmers together. And if not, I will have somebody paddle next to me, or at least be at different destinations along the way to make sure that I've got what I need and that I'm arriving on time and that sort of thing. So there is a little bit of preparation that goes into the super long stuff that we're doing. Some days I've got a motorized boat escort. Other days it's a kayak or a longboard or something like that.
Thank you so much for giving some wisdom to us. And I'm just like, wow, it's amazing. Swimming obviously is not my strong suit. I enjoy it more recreationally, so I don't have to speak. But thank you so much, and be safe and enjoy the swimming wherever you go. Thank you so much, Dave.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. What a cool conversation about swimming, but then also eating. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday. Don't miss out. Learn from others. Swim with others. But also get the book, Take It From the Ironwoman, Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Thank you for your support. Subscribe and like us and write a review. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.